champions? Welcome to another edition of The Kitchen. Of course, I am DJ Permiss. Super excited to be live in the kitchen with you guys today. Got a really cool special guest. And this gentleman right here, I'm telling you, man, if there could be a way where we could go back in time to bring it back to where we are now, the story is just going to be impeccable. He's a hip-hop baby, the whole 9 yards, and I'm so glad that he carved out some time to hang out with us today in the kitchen. Checking in from Brooklyn, New York. Champions, please help me welcome my man. Y'all always hear me shout him out during my mix. My man, Pop Buchanan, live in the kitchen. Pop, what up, man?
Yo, Permiss, what's good, my brother? I'm chilling. What's good?
I'm fantastic, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, man. I know people, when I be on the mix, they people like, yo, who the heck is this Pop Buchanan? Well, now you get to put the name with the voice, so I'm fantastic, man. What's the weather like up there in Brooklyn, man?
And it's nice out here, nice and sunny. And a nice breeze. It's a perfect day to barbecue, man. It's beautiful out here.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, let's just get right into it, man. Most people are curious. Most always are in the know. But if they do not know, open up the world and let them know who Pop Buchanan is.
Pop Buchanan is many things. But first of all, he's a child of God. You know what I mean? I'm an old Brooklynite New Yorker who came up with a passion to do music and to spread a positive word. And, the whole movement of Pop Buchanan is all about bringing enlightenment to the people, positive energy, and just keeping it raw. Come from a big background of black nationalists out here in New York, a lot of revolutionary people. Just very positive culture of people. So that's what Pop Buchanan represents, man. You might hear the people call me Pop Buchanan, P.O.P., Pop. That's my childhood name. My family gave it to me because I always had a lot of energy and always brought a lot of life to any situation. And that's what I'm about. I like to bring life to the situation. Pop Buchanan is to, change the tune. You always hear a negative side of us. Our black struggle, negative side to our people. I just like to keep it positive, always shed the positive notes to light. There's way more positivity in the black culture and black diaspora than negative, So that's the thing. I like to just promote that. And that's me, man. I'm a regular guy, that just down to earth and just try to bring some life to the situation.
No doubt, man. You was raised in Brooklyn, and I know the hip hop roots and the culture out there is very, very, very high. Anybody that knows hip hop knows at some point some of your favorite artists originate out of Brooklyn. So for you, when was the first time that you fell in love with hip hop?
The first time I fell in love with hip hop, it was crazy, man. I'll be honest, man. My older brothers was always into hip hop first, man. I was introduced to hip hop as an innocent bystander, man. It was just crazy. I had no choice in the matter. Like my older brother, most people would know him. His name is DiBiase. He was a big part of that hip hop culture for me, man. I would come home from school. I'd be mad young. He'd be blasting Cool G rap. Rakim, Jungle Brothers. That was like my life. It was kind of crazy because the content it was scary to me. I was coming home from school, had my little Catholic uniform on, my book bag, and then you hear Cool G rap talking about shoot 'em up and let's get this. I'm like, yo, what the hell? What's that? What the hell are you playing? So I used to be like scared of shit. I used to be like, what the hell are you? I don't know. And then, and my brother was really nice and he used to rap. And then after a while, it became part of my second nature. I'll be walking to school and I'll be reciting, Big Daddy Kane or whatever. I'll be little, like go uptown to the Bronx to boogie down. I'm strong on the out, rockin', whatever. Right. So that's how I got into hip hop, man. I just think it was by default. And I have to always thank my brothers. And, and on another historical note, we have a cousin by the name of Sir Abu, who was one of the pioneers of hip hop. Believe it or not, he did one of the first rap records back when he had his group And he did one of the first actual hip hop. He was one of the first hip hop groups out there. And so I have to give a shout out to Sir Abu, his movement. So yeah, rap has always been a part of my culture, and I thank God for being born on that side of BK because it was a real militant, real beautiful time.
Nah, no doubt, no doubt. You know, the greatest thing, as you said, your brother inspired you, and it was just all around you. So I know when you first wrote your rhyme, you know, the intimidating factor, I'm pretty sure, set in, because you know, as my past guest would always say, if you came out with, you wrote your first rhyme and it was whack, you wouldn't hear the end of that. So I guess, when did you write your first rhyme? When did you actually recite it? And what was the reception that you got back from the people that you spit it to?
No, it was funny, man. It was crazy. I was always a deep kid into metaphysics, science. You know, I was always on the streets and stuff, but I was always into a bunch of things. So I started out writing like I think an evolved form of poetry where it was like rap, but it was always a cappella. So cats would kind of be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Yo, you rhyming basically, but you just all over the place because your poems are so deep. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was crazy because at the time, my team had a little record deal. They was under the name Council at the time, Council Ever. They dropped with a label named Rancor Records. And, you know, it was my brother, my boy Floss, you know, my Nilion Dello, Jazzo, all my peoples like that out of BK. And they was doing this we all came together to do this album. And the shit was like, I was like, yo, I want to get on this. And my brother B was like, yo, Pop, you should write a verse. And I was like, all right. So I wrote a verse to this crazy track. And it was crazy, man. The reception was funny because I sound mad young. So I was like, yo, I flip flows like a pusher flip kilos and teach hoes how to cherish their body. Can't nobody tell me I don't know. I take a virgin, turn them into hotties while sipping bourbon. Yo, everybody went crazy, man. So that was like my first verse, and that was as close to the voice I could try to portray to you guys, man. They was like, yo, he sound like he's 6, but he's spitting fire.
Wow.
Yo, this shit was funny. And you know what was exciting about it is I made the cut for the album, me and my partner Shay. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Shay Logan, because there's never going to be a Pop Buchanan without a Shay Logan. That's my brother from day one, and I love him, man. And, you know, so it was funny. And the thing about Shay, you know, for all you guys don't know, Shay Logan, he was my partner for years. He's still my brother. And Shay's voice never changed from when he was young to now, so he always sounded the same. But I had to evolve, so I had a really young, cool voice. But that's what made labels and people interested in me at the time, going all the way back to like 97, 96. My voice was just definitely unique, you know?
You know, I could remember a time where we was in the back of your crib in Fort Greene. And it's funny you mentioned Shay, because we was back there. I think we was filming something at the time. I think I was doing Power Moves TV. We was back there. It was just good vibes, good hip hop, good MCing. The good thing about it was social media wasn't as prevalent back then as it is now. I mean, it was probably just starting. So do you think that creating those relationships, those interacting, me coming from, I think at the time I was living in Baltimore, so I actually came to New York, came to Fort Greene, and sat down with you and did that interview. So do you think that the hand in hand, the relationships is very, very, very important now? Do you think social media has kind of crippled that?
Well, I don't think social media crippled it, but I will say social media made it a lot more impersonal. And I think back then the hand-to-hand kind of, you know, artist-to-artist interaction was a lot more important, because what happened was you'll wind up creating a little situation with it. Someone to come and link up with you. You guys will either smoke a blunt, drink a beer, you know, kick it, do some freestyle. So what happened was people would start building real relationships. And those relationships would turn into a real organic situation where, you know, someone like you who's interviewing an artist like me could say, you know what, I sat with Pop Buchanan. I know what they're about. I really like them. I want to rock with them. They're part of my team now. I think that's important, and I think that's how a lot of crews used to collaborate. Because now it's very impersonal. You know, someone you're looking at their page, you could like them, but they could be absolutely inaccessible. You know, hard to get people on the phone, hard to get the real physical person. So I think you know, the internet is kind of like an ambassador, like, you know, your brand ambassador that's actually goes out before you, but you barely ever get to be in contact with the real thing, man. So sometimes people just give up, or they just say, I know I heard about this person, they're hot, but it's real, it's no interpersonal relations. And I think that's more important now more than ever. So what I try to do is I try to figure out who I want to work with. And yeah, I try to definitely get a meeting together, at least a phone call, and try to get somebody live on the phone. Because sometimes you still need human feedback. You still need human contact, man. You know, this artificial intelligence, computer stuff is crazy because we're conditioned as humans to need each other. You know, I need to hear my brother say, yo, son, I heard your album. It was amazing. I like where you're going, to give me positive feedback. I'd rather that than an email saying, yo, you either suck or you're hot. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on that.
You know, you actually hit a fork in the road in your career. And when most people hit this fork in the road, and I affectionately call it that, because you can either go right or you could go left. So with this fork in the road, you actually took some time away from hip hop and you got yourself together. You know what I'm saying? It's like you went on like your journey, right? So talk about that time away from hip hop, and what did that do for you from both a spiritual realm, creative realm, and I guess what was some of the life lessons that you adapted in your time away from hip hop?
Good question. Very good question. As a young guy, I think around 25 is when I really was at the height of doing everything I wanted to do. I mean, I had a bunch of money. I was making close to probably $10,000 to $15,000 a month on real estate. I was buying anything I want. I had a duplex apartment building in the middle of Fort Greene. I'm young as hell. You know what I mean? I held down a whole team. And I was just doing my thing. But with the hit at that time, I was kind of living the rock star mentality, you know, partying, drinking, doing whatever I wanted to do, still positive, working, making money. But I was young. And I just think it kind of overwhelmed me, because a lot of things happened when the market crashed on a business level, lost a lot of money. Hip hop was kind of stagnant in that way because, you know, I wasn't part of a group anymore. So I kind of was dealing with the reality of becoming a solo artist and kind of trying to follow up with this hip hop thing on my own. And then one thing led to another. And I think lifestyle took over, you know. A lot of drinking, started drinking way too much, partying, too many girls, just a lot of stuff like that, man. And so eventually, by default, I just left hip hop alone in a sense, because I was making way more money than rap could have ever paid me at that time. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a smart guy. I had the opportunity to go to college. I have a dope team. You know what I'm saying? My older cousins, these guys was making probably $100,000 a month on real estate type stuff. So I was pretty much balling. I was good. I didn't really need to do too much, you know. You remember coming to see me. I had the fur coat on and all of that. And I remember that. I was chilling. We was at the Gainesville Hotel. So a lot of cats talk about balling and all that, but we actually really did it. So when we talk, when I hit on that in my music, making money is one of the things that we could do, but we do it legally, and that's what I always like. I have a saying that you flip bricks, I flip bricks too. So I try to tell people that, you know, somebody could glorify drug dealing, which I never glorified that. Everybody that I knew that sell drugs and that was serious, they didn't rap about it, and they damn sure didn't promote it. So I don't promote this hip hop culture with this drug shit. I always hated that. Right. Because I know real gangsters and real killers and people who had to really, unfortunately, live that lifestyle, which is dark when you're close to it. They're not rapping about it. So anyway, that shit, I don't know when that came into the culture, but that's bullshit. Right. Because anybody that's real, they're not going to do that. So a lot of these cats really, they may be, I think it's more the nickel dime guys who rap about it, not the real dudes who could really rap about it. But anyway, so like I'm saying, I'm making enough money where I could have bought all the drugs in the world and kept going. But one thing I don't like jail. All right, enough of my family and brothers and cousins got locked up where they told me, you way too smart. We see you in jail. We're going to send a kite and get you killed ourselves. We never want to see you on that side of the fence. Right? So my only demon was, and I'll be honest, the only takeaway I had from the hip hop and just being spoiled was drinking. I started drinking way too much. And that kind of took its toll. And at that point, I kind of went a little dark area where I just had to deal with life, perspective, purpose, and dealing with that particular demon, that particular addiction, and that particular problem, which I'm never ashamed to say, because one thing especially, and I like to say this, Permiss, because this is important to me. This is one thing that's a passion. When I say the black culture, black people, I think alcohol affects the whole world. But it definitely, I have to emphasize how much it meant for me as a young black man, because it was very difficult. Because, you know, in our neighborhood, you see liquor stores everywhere.
Every corner.
We got all the cheap, every corner, you got all the cheap liquor. Then, you know, you got all these kids glorifying drug hip hop culture. So you see older people that's older strung out and fucked up, and then you see the young dope boys out there. So all of that is toxic, and I think all of that's a problem. So when I became an addict, I mean, I had to go to, I purposely just said, you know what, I'm shutting down everything. I left my girl, I left everyone. I sat by myself and I prayed. I said, yo, what's the problem right now? I said, well, maybe you're addicted to this drinking shit, so you got to do something about it. So I became extremely proactive, and I couldn't do that without God. I said, forget I put my money, my businesses on pause. I put the music on pause, and I put myself in perspective. And as you said, in the spiritual realm, I actually did go to a dope spiritual realm, because I actually just relied on God. I knew enough about God and loved God enough to say, hey, I just woke up and realized I'm in trouble. Can you help? I need help. And at that point, I felt like God sent every angel, every warrior, every spiritual emissary he had to come and get me. I got up. I went to a hospital. I spoke to the people, had no insurance or anything, because I was making so much cash. I just never had, I didn't even think about getting health insurance. So they was like, yo, I mean, without insurance, it's kind of hard to get detoxed and put into a situation. So they just had me sitting there, and literally I started tearing up, because I'm like, I know I'm sick and I know I need help. And yo, it was like a miracle. This nurse, and I can never forget them. This is St. Vincent Hospitals in New York. So shout out to St. Vincent. It's a Catholic hospital. They're amazing. The nurse said, I can't take this. I'm not trying to wait for no insurance bypass. She brought the director of the hospital down. It was this old black guy with a cowboy hat on, mad jewelry. It was crazy, you know. He came in and he looked at me. He said, young man, you look too good to be here, man. What you doing here? I said, yo, I don't know. I think I got in trouble. I'm drinking too much. I need help. I just want to deal with this. And he said, look, if I give you a pass, you have to go all the way, young man. I don't want to see you back here ever again. I said, I'll go all the way. That was 4 years ago.
Wow.
I never looked back. I had one time in my life where I got jammed up and I felt in trouble on a spiritual and physical level. God gave me the pass. So I'm telling everyone out there, if you're in any type of trouble, whether it's addiction, money, you're in an abusive relationship, whatever you're dealing with, there is always a way out. First, go to God, and then take the pass. You're going to get a pass. It's going to be something like get up and leave and walk this way, or just keep going, or just make a decision. Go with this family member, even if you hate them. If they're good for you, listen to them. I listened to everyone I didn't ever want to listen to, and now I'm stronger, got way than I ever had. I could do whatever I want. I set up 3 or 4 companies. I'm doing all type of stuff, and I'm living my passion, and I'm no longer clouded by the restraints of weed, big, getting twisted, turning up. I'm not into that anymore, because I guess this is the catch point. This is what's beautiful about it. I realize now that I was never happy then. You know what I'm saying? So even when I was getting the bottles of Henny and had the chicks and all of that, at the end of the day, I wasn't having fun. I was sitting down saying, damn, everything's spinning. Everything's moving too fast, man. This shit is crazy. I'm not having fun, man. I remember days when I was just chilling with my little shorty, making a steak and just, reading doctrine and thinking about a 16 before I had all this money and all that. I was good. So sometime what people desire for, it could also be their Achilles heel. So in my case, all of that money at a young age, all of that exposure, the rock star lifestyle backfired on me, which brought me to this point to help people. And I'm happy I went through that because I was able to conquer that. And, you know, I'm still I still fight it every day. Not saying I have an urge to, but, you know, once you have overcome a drinking problem, it's best to acknowledge that you're going to have that problem for the rest of your life, because one drink is one drink too many for most of us, especially in the black culture.
We'll be right back with our special guest. Champions, one of the world's most largest online retail shops, is right here at permissworldwide.com, and that's Amazon. All you have to do is scroll down, and where you see the Amazon banner, just click on that and go ahead and shop away. All right, we making it more easy and accessible for you, so you don't have to go anywhere else. PermissWorldwide.com, your one-stop shop for all of your Amazon shopping needs. Well, you know the crazy thing, Pop. First of all, I have to commend you and salute you for at least taking that first step and doing that, and really recognizing that, hey, I got a problem, because a lot of people are in denial. They feel like, I can handle this, it's good, I'll be all right, I'm not an alcoholic. You recognize that, you got help, and you took that first step. And the culture of hip hop, and you touched on this a little bit earlier, is they do the complete opposite. So it's like, I gotta have the necessary vices, the drugs, the weed, and everything to create good music. It's like of the stat quo. So how is it helping you create your music? How is Sobriety helping you create now good music and everything like that? And, you know, I guess, what is the message that you're pushing, not only for black people, but humanity as a whole?
First of all, man, the old me met myself now, it'll be night and day. You know, I'll run that little guy around the block 1,000 times. And I realized weed always hindered me. Alcohol always hindered me. And no matter how, you know what I think people need, people have to find courage. You know, you got that show True Blood. I like to talk about true courage, man. When I see somebody, it's like if you see someone drunk and they acting tough, and you know you could beat the shit out of them, excuse my language. You give them a pass, because you like, man, I watched this dude, man, but he drunk. So his courage is fake. So you know, because this dude is saying all this because he's drunk, but it's not real. That same person could wake up the next day and be like, yo, man, what happened? I'm sorry, fam. I didn't mean it. So that means it was almost like a temporary possession. So what I tell people is, you can't pull inspiration from artificial sources. You can't get inspiration from a bottle, a Henny. You can't get it from a blunt. That's all bullshit. And people think that they're getting their inspiration from there, but they was born with that creative calling. They already have the inspiration. They get that from the universe. And they get that from God. For some people, God may be touchy, then you get it from Allah. For some people, Allah may be touchy, then you get it from a Brahmin. You get it from the Buddha. That may be touchy. You get it from the universe. That may be touchy. You get it from the Force. If you're a Trekkie fan, that isn't always here to give it to you. You really don't need all of this other stuff to get by. And I like to make a point to go a little further. You see a lot of people, whether you in any culture, I'm talking to the human race, you see a lot of people really just keep going. They're like, yo, this guy's constantly moving. If you look at most of their lives, you realize they're sacrificing a lot. Either it's a lot of time, a lot of energy, or they're not partying, they're not turning up, they're working. And you got to think about your end goal. I think a lot of people don't like to think about the end goal, the long run. They're thinking about now. But one day you're going to wake up and you're going to say, damn, I wasted time. And I focused on the wrong thing. So my thing is, when you wake up in the morning and you at your purest state, reevaluate your life every morning without the first drink, without the first blunt, and then look at how you feel. If you feel lousy, that means that you're in a toxic environment. If you feel good, that means that you can keep feeling good without anything else. And I think that inspiration in itself and creativity in itself, which one of the messages I like to spread is, the ABCs, right? Remember when I was talking about how I made all the money? I was a young real estate investor. I was fly, I had cars, everything. Everyone taught me, always be closing. always be closing. The ABCs from Glenn Glary, Glenn Ross. It was a real estate movie, very famous. All the big Wall Street tycoons and all my cousins who had the big money, they'll be like, Pop, always be closing. Pop, always be closing. I was the closer. I could close anybody on any deal. And then as I got older, I realized that's wrong. It was the wrong ABCs. I wanted to be more like the creator of the universe, be more like God. God is the creator, right? So the ABCs should be always be creating. And I like to teach about the ideas that we have that come in our head. It's a guy named James Altucher. He's a brilliant business tycoon. He has a blog writer. He has a book called The Choose Yourself Guide to Wealth and a Choose Yourself Guide. And in these books, he introduced an idea with his wife called the idea machine, right? Writing down 10 ideas a day that could actually change your life. And I like to, and I call people to try to just try to write down 10 ideas a day for anyone. It could be a friend, how to improve my business. How can I make extra $500 a week? How can I maximize my goals? How can I improve on my health? Just constantly come up with ideas. And if you exercise that idea muscle and you also stay in your creative core, man, the world is yours. You can have whatever you want. You know, there's no mythological devil out there holding anyone back. If you activate the core faculties that was given to you from the universe and God, you could do whatever you want. You just have to imagine it, activate it, have a real passion for it, and go all the way.